Hi, everybody, and welcome to the April 18th, 2024 edition of the KubeStellar Community Meeting. Welcome all. The call is being recorded. If you do not wish to be on video, please turn it off. If you do not wish to speak, please mute your microphone. If you do not wish to be recorded in any way, shape, or form, please drop off the call. For anyone out there that's looking to join this meeting on a regular basis, simply go to https://KubeStellar.io/join us with either the underscore or without. And you'll go to a Google group and click join. From that point forward, you'll have the ability to edit this particular box note and any other notes that we have, and this Google Note, Google Drive, Google Doc. And you'll also get regularly reoccurring invitations to our meetings. So thank you, everybody, for joining. I'll just go over our contributor code of conduct. We are proud members of the CNCF community as Sandbox project status. And as contributors and maintainers in the CNCF community, and in the interest of fostering an open and welcoming community, we pledge to respect all people who contribute through reporting issues, posting feature requests, updating documentation, submitting pull requests or patches, and other activities. We are committed to making participation in the CNCF community a harassment-free experience or for everyone, regardless of experience, gender identity and expression, sexual orientation, disability, personal appearance, body size, race, ethnicity, age, religion, or nationality. Basically, what that means is everybody just please be nice to each other. Thank you very much. Okay, let's get started on our agenda. Please add your name to the attendee list if you'd like to. Video will be posted at KubeStellar.io/TV. That's our YouTube channel. All right. So let's see, latest. So the hackathon with Valencia College went pretty well a couple weeks ago. Just recapping what occurred there. We built something called the Labeler. Braulio and I were mentors there throughout the weekend. We had low attendance from the folks in Valencia, but we expect that's probably because the expectation wasn't set up front for folks to join over the course of the weekend. Friday was good turnout, but the weekend was not. So what we're doing is we're retooling, and we're going to try that again in June, July timeframe, as well as we'll have some folks onboarded to help us that want to learn more about open source, how it works, and potentially even doing some level of contribution in the community. So that's the latest. I've been working on the labeler on the side. It's come pretty far. I now have compile time and runtime capability for plugins, and I'm working on an annotator today to add to the mix. Has support for manifest works, for binding policy, remote deployment using a list of contexts, and I'll have annotation and of course labeling works out of the box, and that's consistent for Helm and kubectl. Yeah, so that's the bottom line. So that's pretty cool. The interns for open source project, we're still waiting for commitment from the folks in Georgia Tech, and I've got outstanding meetings going with the folks in Marist, and of course Valencia continues to ride along. So there's all kinds of discussions and talks about how to get people onboarded and working over the summer to contribute during their time off of study. All right. Let's see. In terms of new blog posts, I did post something last week on Canary deployments, and I did something this week on the labeler and consistent labeling, discussions on that. So that's been released. I've been doing some blogging on basic, how to allow for compile time plugins using Golang, which I thought was rather interesting, using a combination of reflection and yeah, plugin implementation. So it's pretty cool. I'll be probably adding another update to that either today or tomorrow, based on my more recent experience about runtime plugins. KubeDay Japan, Yana and Khan are going to be working together for submission. I've been trying to put my finger on the scales there to try and help out. I owe Khan a response, so I'll be doing that later today as well. KubeCon North America, I don't know, has anybody reserved their hotel? I know I have. Is anybody else planning on attending? Braulio, are you planning on attending, or anybody else?
Yes, I did reserve, have my hotel reservation as well.
Okay, great. All right. As far as the submissions are concerned, has anybody done any more thought about what they'd like to submit? Any changes to this list? Okay. All right, so that about covers it for the community. Drop this down out of here for next week. Yeah, okay. All right, so let's go to KubeStellar development. Does anybody out there have any updates they'd like to give on the development process? I've used 21.2, so things look okay with it. I'm still waiting on customization and an Uber Helm chart, but other than that, things look pretty smooth. Any other things that are on the minds of those that are working on development of features or functions? Mike?
I should warn that Yarok has found problems in 0.21.2. So, and they have been fixed in main. So the next release should have that fixed. We are
What's the
working
issue,
on.
Mike?
The issue is that the instructions in 0.21.2 tell you to use, and I believe it's indirectly by using a default that's wrong in the code, release 0.1.0 of the KubeStellar OCM transport plugin.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right, yeah,
And
I'm using 1.3. Okay.
right, you can work around that by explicitly asking for that, but the instructions don't tell the users to
I
do
see.
that.
So it's an instruction issue. Okay. Documentation.
Well, also the default is wrong.
Yeah.
It can be
Gotcha.
fixed either way. So
Okay.
there's that. And you asked about development. I thought maybe there was something on the agenda here, but we are working on some important features. There's template expansion, our first customization feature, and there's custom WEC oblivious transformations, which kind of complement that by adding programmable transformations that are not per WEC.
What would you call a feature? Transform what? Transformation what?
I called it, and it's kind of an unpleasant mouthful, but we had other words that people didn't like. So it's custom, meaning programmable. The users can program it through API objects. WEC oblivious, so that's complementary to the customization features. And transformation. And again, we're starting simple with just being able to remove unwanted content.
All right. Did I characterize
So,
that correctly? WEC oblivious? Yeah. Okay.
yes.
Okay, got
Yes.
it.
Right. It's also been called things like filtering and cleaning.
Right.
But
This is
we
for like
recognize that
job suspension and stuff like that, right?
removing the suspend field on a job, for example, yes.
Right. Okay, good. Excellent. Yeah, I'd really like to of course I have a vested interest in the parameter expansion, but also in the custom transformation. I'd like to be able to use that to try and see if I can get the Argo workflows environment working out of the box. So yeah, Paolo.
Yeah, exactly. That was the main use case so far for this feature was exactly the one for Argo workflows. Probably we may have more also for integration with Q. As Mike mentioned, suspend flag is something that when we run in a WDSO type host, we may have active controllers and a lot of type of jobs today. This is also part of the work that was done with the Q community with other projects like Argo and others that basically most of the projects now that support batch, they do have this suspend flag. So that's a nice feature to have for us. And so I think we can deal for now with the Argo workflows, but in general, we can have more use cases where we're going to use this feature.
Has anybody thought to go to the upstream to see if there's, like in working group batch, to see if there's any kind of, I don't know, people that would like to see it happen on a much more generic basis. I mean,
Well, Andy, the problem here is that we're introducing the problem by making the
yes,
distinction
yes, I
between.
understand that. But I think there are, generally speaking, there should be a need for this, an audience of people that would like to have the ability to suspend jobs before they get run, right? To have more control.
Well, okay. So the issue is one step beyond that. Okay, what Paolo is reporting is it's already been done that things can be suspended.
Yes,
Maybe your point is that it's been done on an ad hoc basis for each of several resources.
right.
There's no Kubernetes wide feature.
That's what I was driving at. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
I
was
would
thinking
be
maybe-
surprised if it would make sense to try to define that because Kubernetes doesn't have anything like that. So I would be surprised, but okay, you can ask the question.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, in this world of, we're talking a lot about, our charter here, right? We're talking a lot about taking things that are primarily single cluster focused, right? And trying to turn them into multi-cluster solutions. And so, yeah, it may be it's very likely right now that most of the working groups out there, they might have an eye towards multi-cluster support, but I think we're kind of leading in the sense, and we're not alone. I don't mean to give that impression, but leading in the sense that we have ideas and thoughts about ways that we can help the communities out there move towards multi-cluster without giving them all the keys to the castle and how to do it, but give them ways that they can move in that direction. And this might be one of those things that we can contribute upstream. But hey, what do I know?
So I think so. I'll just give you my response.
Yeah.
My understanding of the way things move in the Kubernetes community is they will talk about recommended design patterns.
Mm-hmm.
All right, there are no mandates. There are very few mandates for all types of objects, but there are common patterns. So, for example, you'll find most objects have a spec and a status. That's not required. There's some common things like config map that don't have a spec and a status, and there's some common things like services have some of their status are in separate endpoint objects. There's some common things like in the status you'll put an observed generation. So there are patterns that are recommended. And so I think what Paolo was pointing out is that the batch working group has established this pattern that for batch type things, there should be a suspend flag in the spec that gives this level of control.
Okay, then it's already covered. Cool. All right. Anybody else with anything else for development? All right. Does anybody know where about we are on the journey towards an Uber helm?
Well, yes, that was the other thing that I sorry, just thought of also, right? We are working on that. Franco has been leading the charge. So I can only speak, to second degree quality here. But it's in progress. We might not have it in the next release, but I expect it in the one after that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we are close. Basically, Franco was working on a number of PRs that are sort of preparing the terrain for the next, big PR where we're gonna have this feature. So I think we should be relatively close now. That of course Franco is not around these days, so when he's back, we will continue.
Great. Okay, folks. So that about does it for us today. I don't know. I don't have anything else to discuss. Does anybody else have anything else they want to bring forward? All right, then. We can close early. Thanks, everybody, for attending.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Thank you.
original